Alright, so this video is going to be an analysis of the level Crash Landed from Crash Bandicoot 4. This is a pretty decently long level, and I think it's a pretty good video or level to analyze. So this footage comes from PowerPix.com, or just the PowerPix YouTube channel, because I could not find video capture for this, or software for my Nintendo Switch. But at the start of this level, we have this nice little hallway, nothing too difficult, and the first thing we're introduced to is this sort of slippery slime that has ice physics. And we go straight into this sequence with these flying turtles, and you have to go to this side to get this box here. This is an element that will appear multiple times throughout this stage, and gets used in pretty interesting ways. We got this next section here with more of this pink slime. And I should briefly mention this video is going for the insanely perfect relic, which is hitting every single box in the stage without dying, so it will be a full, detailed run through of getting every box on the level, which is the typical Crash game standard. Right here we have our first animal riding sequence with this little alien creature, and it has the pink slime in it too. This sort of mechanic was introduced earlier in one of the polar levels. I think it was Bears Repeating, that's the name of the stage. But at this part, in order to get the boxes, they have to go up and then dash across to this little section here. This sequence is pretty simple and will get expanded upon later in the level. That sort of creature will also be used later, and here is those turtles again, but this time you have to ride across them as they move along and we're falling through the air. Got another checkpoint here after breaking some brief boxes. And this is an example of the blue gem platform. This is an alternate pathway that you can unlock if you unlock the blue gem from another level earlier in the game. This gives you an entire alternate path that has some extra boxes and has some interesting stuff. So here we got more platforms with that pink slime, and this little outline crates that you need to get later in the stage. You had to hit this metal box here and then travel back to hit those boxes that didn't appear. While also, you have to avoid breaking these boxes on your first pass through because it makes it harder when you try going back there. You got some tricky boxes over here, sort of off screen there. Got another sequence here, bringing back those pink slime platforms that we just saw, but in a long sequence here. This is very hard to control, I could tell from experience. Got some more boxes there. We took it there. But here we got those creatures again, and this time you gotta double jump over them. You gotta time it very carefully. You gotta make sure you get both of those boxes. Got one last jump there, and that's the end of the blue gem path. But yeah, there's a lot of boxes in this stage, 234, which is a lot compared to most other past Crash games. We got another one of these hallway sections, sort of the bridge of the gap between sequences here. And as you can see, there's more of the pink slime coming up on a bonus platform and a 2D section, but the bonus sequence comes first. Now, bonus sequences in Crash games are usually sort of like calm sections. You can get through these. In order to get the insanely perfect relic, you need to get through the stage without dying once. However, the death does not count in the bonus sequence, so you could do these as many times as you want without having to worry about, doing everything over again if you die in the bonus sequence, because it doesn't count. So you could try this as many times as you want, which is definitely a nice change of pace from the rest of the insanely perfect relic runs. I could, again, tell from experience. Having a little bit of forgiveness for these is definitely welcoming. But in this sequence here, you gotta time your jump properly so that you can land on that box there, because these have flames. You gotta time your jump properly so you break all those boxes and get to that box and break that. It's a pretty straightforward bonus sequence, all things considered. Now at this point we introduce one of the quantum masks. This one, I forget the name of it, but this one's the one where we invert gravity up and down. You could use it 2 times in the air without having to... You could use it 2 times in the air without touching the ground, so you gotta make sure you manage that. You got another one of these tunnel sequences here. It's a very... I like how this level uses these to sort of bridge the gap between the various segments. It's a brief, simple boxes. Now here, if you saw earlier, there was a gap between 2 of the tunnels, which indicates that there is something up here and indicates that there's the hidden gem there. So you got some simple boxes here. There's going to be another simple 2D section that uses the inverted mask. Now in Crash 4, the sort of invert gravity mask is typically restricted to 2D sections, which is pretty good idea, because it could be, if you used it in like 3D sections, it could be relatively disorienting, and I could tell from experience, like, that when it's used in tunnels, it's more disorienting, and it's good that they keep it 2D, because you could keep track of it more. Now here's the checkpoint again, and we were back with the animal riding sequences. I think this thing is called a schnurl. They have some weird names for these things. But for the rest of the stage is an animal riding sequence, as this is a very long sequence. I think this is like 2 minutes of pure animal riding. But once again, bringing back the turtles, and this time they are running towards us, or floating towards us, making it sort of slows your movement. Yep, more of those creatures running around. So this one sequence is pretty much everything from the level merged into one. You got the creatures running at you, the turtles, the slime, the Schnurgle riding. Then you gotta make sure you hit all these boxes, which is very stressful, because if you miss one, you have to restart the entire stage. So that's kind of an annoyance with this one. But we got the air vents now coming into play. Again, bringing that back from animal riding earlier, and the eels. Now here's the final bit of the stage. This sequence is to hype up what is sort of like hyped up as the pseudo final boss, but it's really not the final boss. But you got the turtles, you got a few boxes, and after you get over this jump here, it's pretty much the end of the stage. It's just a nice, simple run up to a teleporter to be like the last build up for the final, sort of, not final level. But yeah, that is Crash Landed, and definitely a very fun stage. Definitely a fun stage to look at, as it definitely builds up throughout the stage. It introduces each element in its own sort of controlled setting. It introduces you the slime in a simple setting. It introduces you the turtles in a simple setting, and then it eventually, it brings in the animal riding, the eels, and it eventually puts all of these elements together in one big final sequence to hype up what the game is hyping up as the final boss, but is obviously not. But yeah, thank you for listening.